Have you ever stopped to think that the moment of death is not the end, but rather the most revealing moment of spiritual life? Many believe that disembodiment is pain, suffering, and darkness, but spirits assure us that the truth can be completely different from what we were taught. And here's the most controversial part: some report that there is no fear or loneliness at this moment, but rather an experience of expanded and liberating consciousness, which can be experienced in a surprisingly light and transformative way. If you stay with me until the end of this video, you will discover how the spirits describe this moment with details that defy our human logic, and I guarantee that the answer will change the way you see your own life. Before we continue, take advantage of subscribe to the channel. Leave your like. Share this video with anyone who needs to hear this message today. Because what you're about to discover is simply irresistible. The moment of disembodiment represents one of the most profound and transformative experiences in the soul's journey, described by spirits as a natural and inevitable transition that marks the passage from material life to higher spiritual planes. Through mediumistic communications and accounts obtained through various channels of communication with the spirit world, we can better understand how this important stage of human existence unfolds. According to spiritual teachings and the messages transmitted by disembodied spirits, the process of disembodiment does not happen suddenly or traumatically as we often imagine. In reality, it is a gradual phenomenon that involves the progressive detachment of the perispirit from the physical body, a process that can last from a few minutes to several hours, depending on the circumstances of death and the spiritual conditions of the person who is disincarnating. Spirits explain that during the moments preceding death, a person's consciousness begins to experience a gradual expansion, allowing them to perceive realities previously veiled by the limits of physical perception. Often, those about to pass away report visions of deceased relatives, bright lights, or feelings of peace and tranquility that transcend any known earthly experience. The physical process of disembodiment is described by spirits as the gradual severing of the fluidic bonds that keep the spirit connected to the material body. These bonds, composed of an etheric substance that connects the perispirit to the physical organs, begin to naturally dissolve when the body can no longer sustain life. Spirits emphasize that this separation is not painful when it occurs naturally, as it simply represents the spirit's return to its original state of freedom. During the precise moment of disembodiment, spirits describe a feeling of relief and liberation, comparable to awakening from a heavy dream or escaping a cramped, suffocating environment. Consciousness, previously limited by the physical senses, experiences an immediate expansion of its perceptive capacities, allowing a broader and clearer understanding of the spiritual reality that has always existed but was hidden by materiality. Spiritual accounts indicate that in the first moments after passing away, many spirits experience a period of confusion or disorientation, especially those who had a strong attachment to material life or who did not believe in the continuity of existence after death. This confusion is temporary and gradually dissipates as the spirit adapts to the new conditions of existence in the spiritual plane. The experience of disembodiment varies significantly depending on the evolutionary and moral state of the spirit undergoing this transition. Those who have cultivated elevated feelings, practiced charity, and developed a deeper spiritual understanding of life tend to experience a smoother and more harmonious disembodiment, often being supported by higher spirits who assist them in this passage. On the other hand, spirits who are at less advanced evolutionary stages or who committed harmful acts during their incarnation may experience a more turbulent disembodiment, characterized by disturbances and difficulties adapting to new conditions. In these cases, protective spirits work intensely to offer assistance and guidance, demonstrating that divine love manifests itself even in the most challenging circumstances. Spirits also clarify that the timing of death is influenced by the circumstances leading up to the death. When death occurs gradually, as in cases of prolonged illness, the spirit has more time to prepare psychologically for the transition, facilitating the process of detachment. In cases of sudden or violent death, there may be a period of greater initial confusion, as the spirit has not had time to mentally prepare for the change in state. It's important to understand that, according to spiritual teachings, disembodiment doesn't represent an end, but rather a transformation. The spirit maintains its individuality, its memories, its personality, and its feelings, simply shifting planes of existence. This continuity of consciousness is fundamental to understanding that physical death is just one stage in the soul's evolutionary journey. During the process of disembodiment, spirits report that they are often welcomed by family and friends who have passed before them. These encounters provide great comfort and joy, especially for those who maintain deep emotional bonds with their deceased loved ones. Reunion with loved ones represents one of the most comforting aspects of the experience of disembodiment. Higher spirits explain that there is an entire spiritual organization dedicated to helping souls going through the moment of disembodiment. Teams of specialized spirits work tirelessly to offer assistance, guidance, and comfort to those making this important transition. This work of spiritual assistance demonstrates the fraternity and solidarity that characterize the higher planes of existence. The issue of suffering during death is addressed by spirits in an enlightening manner. They explain that physical suffering generally ceases at the exact moment of separation between the spirit and the body, as pain is a sensation that depends on the functioning of the material nervous system. However, moral or spiritual suffering can persist after death, especially in cases where the spirit carries feelings of guilt, remorse, or excessive attachment to material things. Spirits also address the issue of comas and states of unconsciousness that precede death. They explain that even when the physical body shows no signs of consciousness, the spirit remains active and is often already beginning the process of detachment. Therefore, it is essential that family members continue to talk to the person in a coma, offering words of love, forgiveness, and encouragement, as the spirit can perceive these displays of affection. The role of faith and religious beliefs at the time of death is highlighted by spirits as a significant factor. Those who possess genuine faith and a spiritual understanding of life tend to experience less fear and anguish during the transition, as they are already mentally and spiritually prepared to face this experience. Prayer and elevated thoughts act as bridges that facilitate the passage to higher spiritual planes. Spirits emphasize that the loving presence of incarnate family members during the moment of death is extremely beneficial. The vibrations of love, peace, and understanding emanated by loved ones create a favorable environment for the spirit's harmonious detachment. Therefore, it is recommended that family members maintain positive thoughts and avoid excessive displays of despair or anger, which can disrupt the natural process of death. The issue of material attachments is addressed by spirits as one of the main obstacles to a peaceful disembodiment. Those who cultivated an excessive attachment to material possessions, social status, or physical pleasures during life may experience difficulty letting go of these attachments at the time of death. Higher spirits work to help these souls understand that true wealth resides in the spiritual values we acquire throughout our experiences. The process of life review, known as vital panorama, is described by spirits as an experience that generally occurs in the final moments of death or immediately after it. During this review, the spirit has the opportunity to contemplate the key episodes of its earthly existence, understanding the lessons learned, the mistakes made, and the progress achieved. This experience is not punitive but rather educational, allowing the spirit a clearer understanding of its evolutionary journey. Spirits also clarify that the moment of death can be influenced by the conditions of the person's environment. Environments filled with harmony, peace, and love facilitate the process, while places marked by tension, conflict, or negative vibrations can make the transition more difficult. Therefore, it is important to create an environment of tranquility and elevated spirituality around the person who is dying. The issue of anesthesia and medication during death is addressed by spirits in an interesting way. They explain that, although these substances can affect the physical body, they do not prevent the spirit from maintaining consciousness during the transition process. In many cases, anesthesia can even facilitate detachment, as it eliminates physical sensations that could disturb the spirit. Higher spirits also emphasize the importance of spiritual preparation during life as a way to facilitate the moment of disembodiment. Those who regularly cultivate prayer, meditation, the study of spiritual truths, and the practice of charity develop a deeper understanding of the transitory nature of material life and the permanence of spiritual existence. This preparation results in a more serene and conscious disembodiment. The phenomenon of out-of-body experience, reported by many people who have been close to death, is explained by spirits as a partial and temporary detachment of the perispirit from the physical body. These experiences offer a glimpse of what the state of consciousness will be like after final disembodiment, allowing the person a clearer understanding of the continuity of existence beyond physical death. The spirits also clarify that the moment of disembodiment does not mark the end of the emotional bonds between incarnate and discarnate beings. True love transcends the barriers of death, and spiritual bonds remain active even after physical separation. Disembodied spirits continue to watch over their incarnate loved ones, offering protection, inspiration, and assistance whenever possible and necessary. The question of time at the moment of disembodiment is approached by spirits in a unique way. They explain that during the transition, temporal perception changes significantly, with minutes sometimes seeming like hours, or vice versa. This change in time perception is related to the expansion of consciousness that occurs when the spirit frees itself from the limitations of the physical body. Finally, spirits emphasize that the moment of disembodiment, although representing the end of an earthly stage, simultaneously marks the beginning of new evolutionary possibilities on the spiritual plane. Physical death is seen by spirits as a birth into a new, freer, and more expanded form of existence, where material limitations cease to exist and new opportunities for growth and learning present themselves to the soul on its eternal journey of evolution and improvement. Try again.